What's going on, guys? Gomes here, back again on another MLB The Show 20 Diamond Dynasty video. Today we're going to go through tips for March to October. I did a video about a week ago or so mentioning that March to October is really good, and it got really popular, which I'm really happy about because previously it did not have very good rewards. They since changed it and heavily increased it, and I'm happy that it's finally getting the attention that it deserves. It is a great way to get Team Affinity Diamonds done and progress the entire way through a Team Affinity to get ready for the expansion. And I would frequently mention in videos I'd be able to get it done in about 5 hours or so, and a lot of people are like, how the hell did you do that? That is not possible. So today I'm going to give you some tips to do it faster. But before we get into this one, make sure to leave a like down below. As always, it really does help out the videos a ton. And subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, if you guys have been enjoying the tip videos, the gameplays, the updates, everything we brought to the table. We just did 29K. Thank you all for that. That being said, let's get into this one. So first and foremost, I have completed 3 March to Octobers under my belt currently, and all of those I did within a single night. They take between 5 hours and 6 hours. I just split the middle, call it about 5.5. Truth be told, it kind of depends on the time. Sometimes you get a few more moments than you would in others, and sometimes there's just some things that go out of your hand, like some of the leads that you start with or that you are trailing for. So I want to make that known. And something else that I want to make abundantly clear, because I see a lot of questions asking me about this, do not dashboard. Please do not dashboard. Dashboarding is very effective for multi-game moment challenges within Diamond Dynasty. However, do not do it in March to October. I think technically it works, but if you do it multiple times, it'll give you a pop-up saying, basically you can complete this MTO for fun, but you're not going to earn any progress towards Team Affinity, which completely defeats the purpose of doing it. So please do not dashboard it. That is really not intended for this whatsoever, so don't even try it. But let's get into it. The first thing that I want to talk about with March to October is, if you have played it before, you do get into player lock moments the same way you would if you did a Road to the Show player. You know, you do the fielding, you do the hitting, you do the base running. That can get kind of tedious though, especially since it's not really vital, it's not necessary, and none of it counts towards a player boost except for hitting. So what you want to do is go into user settings right here, go into mode specific options, and turn on these settings. Basically, you're going to want to have no fielding opportunities, and you're going to want to have no base running opportunities. This is going to guarantee the only thing that you do within a player lock moment is actually bat, and this is probably going to shave 5 minutes off of every player lock moment. It's usually estimated around 10 all in total, all encompassing, and if you turn these things off, you will not have to do them, and it's just going to be hitting probably like 5 minutes for one of these moments compared to 10. Generally, my rule of thumb for March to October and how I get it done faster is, we'll hop into a game right here. You can see we are currently down, but all I do is I'll get up in the game, like usually 2 to 3 runs, and then I will bunt through it because I play these on veteran difficulty. I'll give you a full in-depth breakdown why veteran is kind of the best difficulty that you want to play on from March to October. I'll do that towards the end of the video, but veteran difficulty is not inherently difficult if you are at least a bit experienced with this game. So if you have a 2-run, 3-run lead, you're not going to lose it, so you can just bunt through the rest of it for all your batters. And with the thought of bunting, what is going to help you out a ton, because some players will just keep bunting at foul, which is going to take more time. Hold triangle down and hold the right stick downwards, and that is, for the most part, I would say 8 to 9 times out of 10 get a guarantee that you are going to get a bunt down in fair territory. The meatball method actually does work in March to October, and you are completely allowed to do this. What the meatball method is basically go into your options, go into gameplay, and we're going to go into general and turning on tutorial tips for batting. You don't have to do base running, pitching, or fielding. Rather, I wouldn't recommend you to, because it's just going to bring up more prompts that are annoying, and it's going to cease to annoy you and take more time. But what this is going to do is it's going to guarantee they're going to throw a fastball right down the middle. And it's always going to be on the second pitch that you see. This one is going to, after the pitch, prompt you with zone hitting and PCI, and then this one, make sure press X, do not disable it because it's still going to have to be on. And then this next pitch right here is going to be your guaranteed fastball. As you can see, it is going to freeze it right here. You can still move your PCI, so if the ball is trending towards this way, you can move it a bit. Typically, you're going to be fine just leaving it right down the middle. And go ahead and press square and do a power swing. Remember, four-seam fastballs are never actually right down the middle. It's just thrown right down the middle, so I do usually recommend that you move it a little bit, but this is nonetheless going to guarantee that you are going to get one right down the pipe. And you can actually do this multiple times within a game, which is cool. You saw that I had one, I disabled it, evidently. You go back into the settings, turn it back on, and you're going to get another one of these opportunities. That time I'm just a little bit early, but you can see once again, you're going to get these each and every time. So all you have to do is disable it right here, go back into your options, into gameplay, turn it back on. It's going to take one pitch for it to load in again. I don't recommend that you do this all the time. Only do it when you need it. Only do it if you're down in a game, if you need to score a run, because it will take more time. But if you are losing, especially in a postseason game that is crucial that you win, this is going to be very helpful. And once again, easy ball. That I still am early on. Somehow my Diamond Dynasty struggles persist, even in March to October. I want to talk about the front office really quick. That's something new that they brought to the table of March to October this year, and it is cool, it is innovative. However, I don't recommend that you spend a whole lot of time doing this. I personally don't really ever change the rotation, change the lineups, and I only change this trade management screen once during a March to October run, because that's all I find that you really need to do. So you're just going to go through all of this, fill it out, which is important because trades are going to be crucial. They are going to help you out a ton, especially come postseason time, and it really is quite helpful. And something I do want to mention as far as players to target, because I think this is a pretty important thing. What you should look for is older guys that are higher in overall, you know, the ones that are actually going to help you within the March to October run. So prime candidates that I always look at if I need a first baseman, I'm pretty much always going to get one of the two, being either Freddie Freeman or Paul Goldschmidt, and these are some of the best first basemen that you are going to get. And since they are a little older, they seem to be prime trade candidates that teams are more than likely going to trade me at some point in one of my 4 opportunities within my MTO run. Another thing important to mention about this is players to shop. There is absolutely no reason to keep prospects. You know, we have the full minor league rosters, which is great from March to October, because if you take a team like the Twins, who have a good amount of prospects, if you think about, you know, Nick Gordon, Royce Lewis, well, not really Nick Gordon anymore, we thought, but it really isn't seeming like it anymore. But Royce Lewis, a guy like that, somebody who's not going to help you in this March to October run, he is a potential. Teams are wanting to get him because it's the same thing that franchise would be. People want to get a top prospect in baseball, and it's somebody that's rebuilding. I wouldn't say the Braves or the Cardinals. Somebody that would be rebuilding, that has a good player that you would want, maybe like a Josh Bell. Josh Bell's kind of young, but you get what I mean. You know, maybe the Red Sox with JD Martinez. If you offer them Royce Lewis, if you put those players, those prospects on players to shop, there's no point to have them. They're not going to help you, and they're going to fetch you some really good players down the road. Also, another thing about trading, do not feel like you need to make trades. That is very important. There's oftentimes where I get no good options out of the 3 that I'm presented with. Either there's nobody that I want, or it would replace somebody that I like. At the end of the day, remember, this is not franchise where, you know, overalls are more important than a player's actual stats. Somebody like Franmil Reyes is really going to help you because he has a ton of power and is going to help you gameplay wise. So sometimes you don't want to unload those players, and if you skip that opportunity, you might know if you play March to October, if you do make a trade, you are guaranteed to hop into the very next game a boost moment where you have to perform well with that specific player. You have to do this. It's a moment that's always going to pop up, but if you don't make a trade, that's not going to happen. So that can save you another 5 to 10 minutes if you do not make a trade, if there's no good options available. Something else that is very important, something that I've I've always made sure in all of my MTO runs so far is to have 2 to 3 really good bullpen guys. I personally never really pitch with my starters unless I have to, whether it be a no-hitter player lock moment, which you do get sometimes. But the Twins aren't bad. For example, they have Trevor May and Taylor Rogers, and the reason why I like bullpen guys is, one, they pitch out of the stretch for the most part. Most guys, you'll learn who does and who doesn't, and it might seem like a nitpick, it might seem like a bit of an inconvenience to take a couple more seconds on a windup, but in the long run it will add up. It will become a lot quicker for you. And once again, when it comes down to brass tacks, these starters are not always going to be there for you. You're going to need somebody in the postseason at the end of games to close them out, and you really want to have somebody good, reliable, dependable to have at the end of games to secure those wins for you and not make you have to play another game into the 5th game of the World Series because you can't close it out. And one last tip I want to give to you guys is for pitching, because this can be the most RNG thing of all. What I really recommend is whenever you're in a tense situation, throw pitches low in the strike zone. I find that is usually your best odds. And if you face up against Mike Trout, if somehow by some way the Angels make it into the World Series, or if you're playing in the postseason, which is still far-fetched enough, make sure and don't be afraid to walk them. So just throw breaking balls low in the strike zone. My same pitching tips apply. I recommend going high fastballs and low breaking balls, and that should for the most part get you out of pretty much any jam pitching wise. And there we go. Now that we got the tips out of the way, this is why I recommend veteran, and this is a great formula to follow to get maxed out on Team Affinity, to get ready for the expansion when it does hit, probably in about a week or 2, I would expect. If you play on veteran difficulty, as we should be still in this veteran difficulty, if you max out everything, if you get all the available stars for the evaluations, you're going to end up with 52 Team Affinity points, which is a very good number and is going to work out well, because if you do this moment, that's +3, which is going to get you up to 55. You can do either the collection or the exchange, which is going to get you 10 points either way. Quick tip, I recommend if it's a cheap team, kind of like the Orioles, kind of like the Tigers, do the collection, because you'll get XP, which is going to help you get more stubs in the future, and it usually is cheaper than the exchanges as well. So unless it is a team like the Dodgers, don't do the collection, do the exchange, but otherwise do the collection if it's cheap. And then do this mission right here. For the Rays, for example, it is going to be pitch 40 innings, but for some teams it is going to be get a certain amount of extra base hits or RBIs with a certain position, certain players, kind of like the Padres they have right here. And all that said, that's going to give you 70 Team Affinity points, which right now at the time of this video is going to max it out, and that's going to net you 9 Team Affinity packs, which are more or less the show packs, 6,000 stubs throughout doing this, the face of the franchise diamond, a gold prospect player, and you're going to be right ready for when the expansion does hit. So hopefully these tips did help you guys out. Like I said, this is what I've been doing, grinding a lot. You also earn a bunch of XP and program stars throughout doing this as well. So hopefully you guys try out these tips and try out March to October if you have not as well. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'll be glad to further assist you down there. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like down below. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day. There goes some Saudi. Yeet.